Hey there, AfterBuzzers. We are here with another after show for Boy Band Season 1, Episode 4, Blast from the Past. Dorian went home. What do you think about it? Stay right here. We're going to talk all about the show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Halfway there. We have a
not alone at all
tonight. No. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
I'm Stefan Lovegrove. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Lovegrove.
And I am Suzanne Quast, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Suzanne Quast.
And I am Carissa Blades, and you can find me online at Carissa Blades.
So simple.
So easy.
And of course, you guys can find me, Lindsey Miller, at Rockin' Mama Life on social media, and us at AfterBuzz TV. Also, make sure you go to YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. We love reading your comments all week long on YouTube, so keep those coming.
Yes, we do.
And my man Stefan is on the live chat. Do we have some folks in the live chat already?
We do. I have to give you guys credit. You have been more talkative than ever in the past week. We accidentally made news.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim Davis. And you guys have been talking to us all week. So we have plenty of people in the live chat, plenty of you talking on Twitter, and we're happy to be here with you tonight.
Yes, feel free to weigh in throughout the show. Let's get started. So we have Season 1, Episode 4, Blast from the Past.
5.
We've got Episode 5?
Yes.
5.
Episode
This is
5.
5.
Episode
We're
5.
halfway there. How
Oh,
fitting.
we're halfway there. Wow, we're so clever. We didn't even know it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about this opener. We have Billy Joel, Uptown Girl. I want to know your guys' thoughts.
I thought there was 3 people that really stood out to me.
Ooh.
Drew, Mike O'Connor, and J-Hype.
Really?
Yeah. Why? You didn't think so?
I don't remember him, so obviously not.
Which one don't you remember?
I don't remember J-Hype from the Open, so
Oh,
obviously
see,
he
I
didn't stand
do,
out.
because-
I remember J-Hype for an interesting reason because he had that Kanye auto-tune effect.
Yes. Where it's like deeper
They
and
had
kind
him
of like
in a way
sexier.
lower register.
Yes.
And yeah, we talked about
Was
that.
he auto-tuned?
Yes, I think so. Like not in a just a forced auto-tune way, like an electronic effect.
Yes, like an actual effect. to
But
deepen
we
his voice
saw
or something.
it. So we go to the live taping, different members of the show every week, and they re-recorded it several times, and every time Carissa and I were trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was that Kanye West auto-tune sound where it's obvious. It's like an effect on purpose. But he was the only one they did it for in the opener.
Do you think it was because his vocals were lacking?
Well, kind of,
Because
maybe.
that's why most artists do it.
Right, but the thing is, he wasn't being judged on the opener. So I said to
Yeah.
Carissa, you could say that this was unfair to him on either end of the spectrum to do this. But, it's an opener. It's fun. Nobody's getting judged on the opener. The architects don't comment on it. So, anyway,
But
I
America's
noticed him for
judging
that
on
reason.
it.
Yeah.
America is judging on it.
I'm
America,
judging
did
on
you
it.
notice
Yeah.
that? Because I know many of you love J-Hype, which we need to get into the J-Hype Michael Connor
Well,
stuff.
yeah.
Of course.
Hold your horses.
Did you
Save
notice,
that
if
for
you
the
watched at home, did you notice the J-Hype auto-tune effect?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. Carissa, what did you think of the opener? Who stood out to you?
I thought in terms of stage presence and just like seeing their eyes light up, I thought Cam was awesome, and just like the eye contact he was making with the camera, and I could just tell he was trying to make up for last week. Like I thought that he was very present. And then Devin is, I have to say, he's just growing on me. He has like a fun, playful energy that I think is infectious, and when you're part of a team, having that type of energy brings everyone's level up. And so I think he might be moving up into my top 5.
He's moving up?
Your top 5?
No, I don't know, but I definitely seeing him live. He has something, a stage presence, some
He
kind of
loves
positive. Yes, he's so
can
happy to
tell
be
he-
there. You can
yeah.
tell.
We have fun when we know that someone else is having
You're
fun.
right.
Agreed.
He also
Absolutely.
reminds me of Nick Carter. For the first time tonight, I was like, he actually has that Nick Carter energy, which is why Nick always appreciates
Baby
him.
Nick.
Even the wink.
Stefan?
Okay, so I asked everyone around me in our little section who stood out. everybody.
Their parents were sitting around.
No, because
Parents, fans.
Well, no, I don't
do
ask the
sit with
parents who stands out because parents, hello,
They're just
but they
gonna
say
sit
their
there.
kid. No, but so there's always like a few different people involved with the show in different ways who are there. And everybody said Brady stood out a lot, which I actually thought was hilarious because Brady took more of a back burner role in his group, but then he's shown anyway in the intro.
Interesting.
So they all said Brady. Andrew Butcher's vocals stood out a lot. He also like crossed the front of the stage, which made it. He was harder to miss in the performance. And Michael Connor is who the audience cheered for.
I mean, they went
went
crazy for
He
him.
was the audience favorite for that number, at least, in terms of audience applause.
Yeah, he stood out to me. I loved this opener for them. I thought it was really cute and youthful and very fun. And I think we've had some very serious performances from some of these guys. And so it was nice to see some of them be really youthful. I actually enjoyed Andrew Bloom in this because I thought it was the first time I saw him seem like he was actually having fun and not taking it so seriously. It was just very light, and he just looked joyful, and that was, I think, refreshing for me to see from him. And then Michael Connor loved, and then Drew Ramos.
Yeah, I'm with you, right? All day today.
Tim was like the prophet last week on Drew Ramos.
Yeah.
Because he had kind of gone under the radar up until this point. And Tim was like, but you guys need to know, Drew really does carry every group vocally, and we watched for it this week, and he did not disappoint.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Speaking of the groups, let's get right on into it. Let's talk about Timeless. They were safe tonight. It was Andrew Butcher, Andrew Bloom, Marcus, Chance, and Michael Connor, and they did Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. We saw them in rehearsals, and Tim, who we didn't get to see, Tim Davis, the vocal producer who was on with us last week, we didn't get to see in the actual episode a whole lot last week, but this week we sure did get to see
We got Tim in
a whole
costume.
lot of Tim in costume. What did you guys think of these rehearsals and their get-ups?
His eyeliner was just amazing, mostly because like how bad it was.
So
He's
bad.
so good looking that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like it worked on him, but just. I don't know. I thought that was a fun thing for them bonding. You could definitely tell when we interviewed them after the show that they knew they had a hard song, and they all seemed like they were doing what a boy band should, which is come together and just keep working on it. And they said we hoped our hard work would pay off. And you're like, that's what you want to hear from them.
Yeah.
Did any of you feel like Chance looked like he actually could wear that getup? I felt like most of them, Michael Connor especially, looked absolutely hysterical. But Chance, I was like, he could rock that. Like, it looked somewhat natural on him. Just saying.
Michael Connor, no pun intended to the boy band, he always looks like the new kid on the block. Like, he always looks like he's feeling his way into it. And I don't mean that in any sort of negative way.
Yeah.
He just always looks like he's the new kid on the
stands
block.
out,
But
and, like-
Chance, I see what you're saying.
See, my two standouts today were Marcus. It was like the first time that I really was like, wow, he's in a boy band. He belongs in a boy band.
You're right.
His dance moves, I thought he was phenomenal. And also Andrew Bloom. I thought he had a really amazing start. And I was like, wow. And last week I wasn't overly, I kind of forgot about him in the performance. Whereas this week I was really impressed.
People, okay, I need people in the live chat to weigh in about the Andrews, because we got a lot of comments throughout the week about the Andrews. People are saying Andrew Butcher improves a lot this week. That's an interesting comment to me, because I don't know if he improved as much as... I thought he sounded good. I just think this was his natural... Like, he admitted this was a song he was excited about. This is very natural to him and his style.
But see, to me, he looked uncomfortable, or like he was trying really hard. I don't know. When they had his solo,
nervous.
he seemed nervous, or like very... Maybe
It's
it was
weird.
his
Live, I didn't hear
serious
that, but then when
face
we were
or
watching it
something.
again, I thought, his
just-
voice almost sounded a little shaky, which is something I didn't. Yeah.
To me, it wasn't even vocally. It was just his body language and his facial expression just didn't... I was like, meh. Like, it didn't seem like he was... You know what it was? The other guys were having so much fun with it, and they were really owning
And you
it
didn't think
and
he was
owning
having
this
fun?
persona. I don't think it looked like he was having fun.
What do you think about the comment from, I think, Emma, that Andrew Bloom looks like he's constantly thinking about the next move? You liked Andrew Bloom.
I did. I did not like her feedback in that. I disagreed with her.
I disagree
Sorry,
as
Emma.
well.
Sorry.
I think
Yeah.
this again was the first time he sort of seemed comfortable and didn't stand out in a not great way or fade back in a bad way. I think he owned it, and I think he carried the performance. Him and Marcus.
I agree.
I think Marcus's voice was just so.
And that
It gave me
flip?
chills. Then he did the flip.
Wait, can we talk about Marcus and Andrew's duet?
Yeah.
I need to
Yes.
listen to that 10 seconds on repeat
Yeah.
because it felt a little CMT. It was a little country, but I was like, I don't even care. Whatever I'm watching right now, this duet. I grabbed Carissa
Yeah, we were
and
both
was like,
swimming.
oh my God, at the taping
Yeah.
because I was like, what is happening right now with that duet moment?
But not even that, dude. I mean, Marcus Pendleton, to me, is a rock star after this. And if he isn't in the final, he's going to be so successful.
I agree.
And you know what I loved about it was that the performance as a whole felt like a throwback. Felt a little karaoke-ish. You know, it's such a classic song, it's hard not to feel like you're doing it.
think so.
But Marcus... When Marcus was singing, it felt current, it felt cool, it felt like something I would hear on the radio today and not like a throwback song.
I wrote down, is this a world tour that I can buy tickets for?
Yes.
Because
The
after
energy
that
was
performance,
electric.
seriously, you guys, I was like, I would go to a stadium for an entire show of this.
I totally agree with you.
That was the first time that I was like, I feel like we're at a concert. Not a competition.
Yeah.
A concert.
And they're an actual boy band.
Right. And Timbaland called Marcus a producer's dream. Can you get a better compliment
Right.
from the king producer himself
Well, he
than
said,
you
"You're
are
my
a producer's
dream."
dream? You're my dream.
What?
Right.
So if not, I guess he could work with Uncle Tim.
Also,
Like
when
this-
we were interviewing the boys afterwards, Marcus did say that his brother really loved this song, and his brother always sang it, and his brother has a speech impediment, and he was just like, I was so excited to get
could
to have my
tell.
brother hear me sing that, and just the way he said it, it was
Feels.
just so genuine and true to his. I was just like, you could just feel it. Like, you could look at him, and he was just having so much fun up there. I was like, that is a freaking rock star.
Yes, loved him. I loved him. Can we talk about Michael Connor for a second? I just wrote down "bless his little heart" because it's the only phrase I could think of to come up with it. Because he just, and you look at these guys and they're just all cool and rock, and Michael Connor he's unique. He's very unique, and he just stuck
Which is
out
what
like
the
a-
judges said.
Yeah,
He stuck out
literally.
like a sore
Yeah.
thumb, but not in a bad way. You know, he just has this awkward, sweet
Adorable,
presence about him that you just love.
He does actually have a sweet voice, but what I was thinking, he seems a little stiff in his movements, and I think it's because he's used to rapping and he's used to hold. So I think his body movements
That's a
are
good
straight.
insight.
So when he's going,
Carissa has these random insights that are like, oh my God, how do we miss this?
Carissa does a lot of rapping, so she knows.
Right. Closet rapper Carissa Blades. It sounds like a rap name now that I think about it. Carissa Blades.
Because all rappers
Power
are like,
106.
but so I just think he has those mechanical movements, and I think he'll get rid of that. You know, but he's used to putting that between him and the audience, or an instrument between him and the audience. And
So
he's
this
it's
this
just
is
his
my
persona.
comment for Michael Connor. He said, and of course we don't know what they all said in their interviews. We know what we saw. We know that in the interview clip that we saw, Michael Connor said, I don't want to be seen as a one-trick pony. And I just want to say, at least from us on AfterBuzz, no one at this point has seen you as a one-trick pony. Because
True.
honestly, I wouldn't blame him for thinking the producers are putting him in these situations where he's just a fish out of water.
Well, I think a lot
And
of it...
he's killing it. We don't. So you're not a one-trick pony. We know.
Well, but he gets grouped in with J-Hype, who a lot of people say, oh, can he just do more than beatbox? And Michael Connor is this rapper. And, and Tim confided in us that when he first talked with Michael was like, well, I don't sing. And he was like, okay, well...
Time to learn.
This is a
Right.
What are
singing
you
competition.
gonna sing in the singing competition? He's like, I don't do that. And he was like, So I think that in his mind, even though he can sing, we've clearly seen it multiple times now, he is a rapper, and it's hard to...
But he told us backstage that he asked not. I mean, it would be weird to put a rap on Living on a Prayer. I saw him on a live stream this week. He was like, I probably could have found one. But no, he asked not to rap.
I respect
Good for
that,
him.
actually.
So
respect that.
so a very intentional choice. He doesn't want to be
Just the
pigeonholed into that. Right.
Yeah, I respect that. Okay, so Timeless, we obviously all agree, definitely should have been safe. We
Agreed.
love them. Was fantastic. Next up, let's talk about next
up.
Yeah.
Right?
Perfect.
Next up, we had Brady, Jaden, Mikey, and Dorian, and they sang True Colors by Cyndi Lauper, a very big song to fill. I'm really curious to hear what you guys had to think about this. That was a weird sentence. What did you had to think about this?
This was the song last week when I found out that they were going to do this song. I was like, well, it's either going to be awesome or it's going to definitely show somebody who's not supposed to be there. Yeah, it's going to expose somebody. It's going to...
Because you can't hide in that song.
Can't hide in that song.
You can't like really dance. You can't do anything else.
True
We're on fire.
That's why I'm not on the show. Also, I'm not a boy. Okay, so how did they do? Were they exposed? Were they good? What do we think? I know what I think.
I know what I think.
What do you think?
Well,
Suzanne?
I don't... Go ahead, Suzanne.
I think
I miss
that...
Tim saying Suzanne's name.
I know, so like regal. I thought Mikey redeemed himself from being in the bottom. Oh, see, I thought he was great.
I'm with you on Mikey. I made the note. Mikey is not looking. So I am watching.
Looking down.
No, and I'm watching
Yes.
for. I have noticed that the architects, and we like to be proven right or like listened to. We're humans. So the architects like it when they take their critiques and they implement it. So they told Devin up the confidence. He upped it. They loved it. They gave him a specific instruction to Mikey and they said, stop, you need to look up, you need to stop looking down. And the whole time, opener included, I noticed he did that. So I thought much of
say about the looking down. You guys, Stefan and I and Carissa went today to see it filmed live, and the audience is
Lower.
down below the stage. And these guys are young, and if they haven't performed a lot, if you're performing to an audience, your tendency is to look to the audience, which for Mikey probably meant he was looking down. So I don't know how
That's
much
a valid point. And the
he was
architects
looking
are eye
down.
level, but much
Exactly.
farther back.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I don't know how much of him looking down was lack of confidence or just he was looking at
Like
his
connecting.
audience and trying to connect to his audience, which
Live-
was below him.
Live chat says Mikey shone more in the opener and you didn't like him as well in True Colors. I will actually agree with you that my note seeing Mikey seemed a lot better this week was actually based on the opener. I thought he
So
was
was
good
mine.
in
I
True
thought he
Colors.
was weak. I don't know.
What? You thought he was weak in True Colors?
Yeah,
Why?
Yes. I felt like he was, and I think maybe it's just his personality, and because it is a softer song, I think it kind of didn't help him in a way because I think he's just a quieter soul. And I felt
But
like
vocally-
he was vocally he sounded great.
That's
He
a
was
huge accomplishment
confident.
because
Yeah.
Tim had
Agreed.
to work
But-
with him a lot on vocals.
But I felt
Why are we
like
not giving
I
him
agree.
credit for
I
that?
did. I
Come
thought
on,
I did.
Suzanne. Come on, Suzanne. Lindsay was wrong about Brady. She can be wrong about Mikey.
No, here's my thing with Mikey. I think he's a very soft-spoken performer in terms of he's just very soft. He doesn't like come out and grab you. He doesn't take ownership of the stage. To me, when he opened the song, the camera had to come into him. He didn't draw you in. That's how it felt like to me watching it. I didn't see it live, so I'd be curious how it felt live, but to me it felt like the camera had to really come to him. And he didn't shine out. And
They
that's
did.
where I was
They
like,
did
ah.
have him starting both Despacito and True Colors. They had him starting the song. And
That's a lot of
okay,
pressure.
so I'll contrast. He doesn't stand out the way Brady does in the sense of no matter where Brady is in that
Agreed.
lineup.
Your eye goes to him.
Right.
There's certain contestants, and not just Brady. There's certain contestants on the show. Your eye just goes to them, and I'm just saying he's not one of those.
I do
To
feel
me,
like
that's
live, though, Mikey's voice has something that it does pierce through that kind of space, and I feel like that is important when you have it.
Oh, yeah.
Have it live. Like I know we've been talking about how Drew's voice is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
But that's something that gets lost in a space, like the register in which Mikey sings. He can hit a lot of notes and
Yeah.
can do a lot that would help bring a group together. He would add range.
Well, there's a reason he started the songs. He has that great, quiet, soft, like special moment kind of voice and personality.
Well, and you've certainly been one to say they can't all be the front runner.
No.
So they can't all. It would be weird if they were all
The lead singer of the
Brady
band.
level. I will say though, I was very proud that Brady was able to take a back seat, and yet
He didn't stand
still,
up to me.
when we heard him,
Oh, yeah.
it was so angelic that
Yeah.
Emma was still like, just keep going.
gave
Doesn't
the
matter
exact
if this
same
was
notes as
the
she
biggest feature for you ever. Just keep going.
I don't know. For me, I had a hard time seeing anybody but Jaden.
I know.
I do agree.
It
Amen.
felt
I
like
agree.
Jaden's
Amen.
concert with his backup singers.
Is he
Yes.
growing on you? I feel like you're
Yes.
more positive every week.
I still have the same thoughts on Jaden. I love him. I think he's an incredibly talented artist. And this performance, unfortunately, confirmed for me that he's a solo artist. I just don't see how he fits in a boy band. He stood out so much so that it felt like I wanted to just see Jaden sing it.
Interesting.
Well,
That is
I-
very interesting.
I will say this. There are, and this is becoming more and more clear to me as the weeks go on, there are people on this show that if it ends and they don't make the final 5, I have no doubt
Yeah.
their next opportunity is already waiting for them, and they
Absolutely.
I would buy the solo album tomorrow. Jaden is one of those people.
Exactly.
There are others that I'm like, outside of a
need
group,
the
there
bands.
is no solo album.
No.
So we mean that in a compliment,
Oh,
in that,
absolutely.
Jaden, I'll buy the album if you don't make the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still really love him in a band. I do agree with you. I think he would probably be a better solo artist. However, I just feel like the tone of his voice and like the way that he can hit those high notes.
Oh,
I mean, it adds so
unreal.
much soul.
Unreal.
And I feel like that like grounding, almost like I don't know, even the adjective boisterous tone, I feel like could be really helpful in a group.
I just have yet to see him in a blend where his voice is shining and he still fits in.
See,
I thought he
that's
blended
what I
beautifully
did too.
today.
I
I
thought he
literally
blended,
wrote down,
yeah.
Jaden blends well but beautifully.
Yeah.
He stood
The
out
live
so
chat
much
is
to
with
me.
Lindsay, that
He's
they
wow,
think Jaden
really?
is a
He's a soloist.
soloist.
Well, no,
Really?
I
So-
do agree, but you don't think that
I
think,
also think in talking to him at the end, just interviewing him and stuff, he is very mature. I do think he could be a standalone artist. I'm not going to
Agreed.
discount him from being in a group in the end, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to point
He
out.
does
When we
have the
say somebody
emotional
could be a solo
maturity.
artist, it's not a
Yeah.
diss.
Yeah,
no,
of
if
course
anything,
not.
Right.
I
We're
would
saying
love
that,
to
that will
see.
continue.
I would love to see Jaden in a group with really strong vocalists where he can blend and ground down the song. I felt like last week was the first time I saw him fitting in a boy band, but they really kind of dumbed down his vocals, I felt like, in order to make that happen. And he got
Okay.
some critiques that his vocals weren't stellar that week because they didn't give him the runs, they didn't give him the range, they didn't give that, and he blended right in. And this week they gave him all that vocal strength, and he stuck out in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
But it was Jaden and his backup singers for me.
Well, the live chat is with you on him being a soloist. Okay, two things on this song. One from the live chat. This is a good point. They keep giving Brady ballads.
Yeah.
A couple
Yes, I
people have
wanna
pointed
see
out.
Brady.
We want to see some, which they're doing because they know he can handle it, though.
But he can sing. I saw a
Yeah.
little snippet of him in the opener, and he can dance. Like he was cute.
Yeah.
He was moving. He was
He was
jovial,
great in Uptown
having
Girl.
I
a
agree.
blast. I felt like I was watching like Glee. You know,
Yes.
he was like super
He
adorable.
is, I
wanna
calling
see
him
him-
Prince
Tim
Charming.
certainly can confirm that.
I want to see him up tempo. Like I don't know. Yeah.
So we want more from Brady.
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, we have to tell you this from backstage. So we
Tell me from
asked all the
backstage.
groups what they thought when they got their song assignment.
Loves it.
Other than one member of the group, none of them knew True Colors.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Very
we
old?
started by saying, what a
Oh,
song to
God.
fill. How adorable, because they didn't know the song.
Yeah.
Well, I'm old.
So there you
And
go.
that is sad, boys. Cindy Lauper. How do you not know
know.
Cindy Lauper?
I don't know, but I think it's actually a testament that they carried it so well, having heard it for the first time 7 days ago.
Yeah.
Jeez. Speaking of songs that we haven't heard before, I love that. Let's talk about Maxed. They did Lauryn Hill's version of Can't Take My Eyes Off You. I love that Rita Ora had to specify that this song was originally Frankie Valli's. I'm like, how do we live in a world where there are people out there that think that this is Lauryn Hill's song?
Now, that group all knew the song. Except for Devin, who had never heard it.
Yeah.
Any
Aw,
version of
bless his
it?
little heart.
Any version.
He said he'd never heard it.
Jeez, Devin, bless his little heart. Okay, let's talk about Maxed. We had Jay Hype, Devin, Drew, Sergio, and Cam, and this kind of felt like the Motley Crew to me. Anybody else feel like that way a little
Felt
bit?
the exact opposite.
Really?
I thought like their outfits were cohesive. Their dancing was they just felt like a boy band
like
to me.
The outfits.
Really? I'm not saying
it felt
I love
very
them.
Like Jersey, like
I think
old school,
well,
like not a good Jersey. I used to live in Jersey. I love Jersey, but it was like not a good.
But
Jersey.
I thought that was like an homage to Frankie Valli.
Yeah, but
The
we can
choreography did feel old school boy
Yeah.
band to me.
and Forrest, a little Forrest.
Old school boy band.
Yeah.
I'll stick with that. I don't know that I want to say forced. But Drew,
I agree.
Oh.
the dark
God.
horse.
Yeah.
What? I wrote "Hello, young man," because he came out with his hair all like they did something different with his hair. And
I was gonna say he looked better this week.
he did well.
Whatever
what
they
do you
did last
mean?
week. People, actually, you guys tweeted about this or commented
Yeah.
on YouTube last week. Drew's makeup last week did not do him
not
any
do him
favors,
justice.
and which is not his fault. And this week he looked a lot better.
They slicked his hair back. His cheekbones stood out. He had a nice suit. He looked stunning, and he sounded unreal.
I totally agree with
Unreal.
you. His voice is like heaven.
Incredible.
And you're right. And it was because of Tim last week. He was like, no, you guys need to pay attention to
Tim
him.
told us
Yeah.
you
And I
gotta
was
watch
like,
for Drew.
I don't know. But oh
I
my
ignored
God.
everything
he was,
Tim said, but he sounded awesome.
Yes. You know who else I was impressed by, but not vocally, but by his moves and like you said, that charisma.
Devin Hayes.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
His like his on
He's got
stage
some smooth
presence. He
moves.
does.
Ever since he overcame the confidence thing, he does show up in an energy of I belong on this stage.
Yeah.
And you gotta
Yes.
give him points, Lindsay, that he is consistent about that.
No, he is
Yeah.
consistent. My thing with Devin, I think, is very similar to Jaden this week. I felt like Devin's stage presence was so strong that he didn't blend, and not to his not his fault.
How did you think he
He-
sounded this week?
I mean, give or take, he sounded okay. You know, my thing
I
with
think
Devin
he improved.
I
I
thought
think
he
he's
improved.
taking the critiques and improving on that.
I think he has a solid voice. I think he's never going to be like the standout,
I agree.
amazing soloist singer, but he doesn't have to be. That's
I
not
agree.
what he brings to the table. What he brings
Which
to the
Timbaland
table
acknowledged.
is stage presence and performance, and like Carissa said, this just infectious energy that you want to watch. You want to get up and dance. You want to smile when you watch him perform. He doesn't need those stellar vocals.
That's
agree.
true. That's true.
Because
He
I didn't
has.
think vocally
It does
he
make
was
you want to
great
smile.
tonight.
And he'll just continue
But-
to grow. I mean, you know, if he does get in the band, they're going to get the best vocal coaching. They're going to get the
yeah, of
best. I
course.
mean, he's going to continue to grow. It's not like he has a bad voice. He has
I
a great
did
voice.
think he had improved. Go back and watch
I
both
thought
the
he
opener
improved
and his
also.
performance.
In the
I
opener,
did
it
think
it
he
didn't sound like
improved.
they had to do anything to his voice. Like his voice sounded really good in the opener to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he improved, but he wasn't on my radar at all before. But then seeing him this week, I was just like, this. That's what we're looking for, is like the constant
He's just
improvement.
steady.
And the,
He's,
yeah.
Some people are fading into the background more as it goes on, and some
Yeah.
people are getting more noticed. I think that he keeps getting
Yeah,
noticed,
I would
whether
agree with
he's
that.
your fave or not.
Yeah.
He
No, I
keeps
don't.
getting on the radar every week.
I want to see him in a group where everybody can rise to his performance level. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You know, same with Jaden. Like, I want to see Jaden in a group where everybody rises to his vocal level, and I want to see Devin in a group where all of the members of the group can rise to his performance level.
So he doesn't outshine them.
yeah.
But if you're Devin, that's a good place to be.
That's a great place to be.
I mean, in this business, you would always rather be told,
yeah.
too much energy, we got to get everybody else
Agreed.
up or bring you
Yeah.
down. Much better than saying, we need more, we
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
more.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
if he is not going to be in this band, he'll definitely be on a CW show in 5 years or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just wanna
He
watch
reminds me
him.
of one of the characters from that vampire show, like the way long ago. Buffy the Vampire
Someone in the
Slayer.
live chat says Devin head to toe looks like a boy band boy. We
Yes.
said from week 1, you can see him on Lunchbox or Valentine's.
Yeah.
Or a puzzle.
He's that guy.
Or
Or a
like a sleeping
puzzle.
bag.
Poster.
Sleeping
I
bag.
had a
This is
sleeping
too
bag.
much.
No, I had like
I
as a
am so
kid.
sorry, boys.
Okay. I did as a child. Did you guys not have that?
I had puzzles.
I did not have
I
boys
was
on a
super
sleeping
nerd
bag,
about it.
nor girls, but
Okay, maybe there's something wrong with my parents. All right.
Moving on. What did you guys think of Sergio this week? Because we've liked him all along, and I think this song should have been kind of in his wheelhouse. He has that very, like, throwback, you know, vintagey look and feel.
It's interesting. I have notes by everybody, and I have nothing by him. And it's not because I don't love him. I think he is so talented. I think he's really, really good. But I don't know. There was something, I just didn't write anything down by him. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, or he's just always consistently
I know
really
it is
good for
because
me.
we're about to go,
Consistent.
we're too far into the competition for
Yeah.
no bad notes to be a bad thing or to be okay. You know what I mean?
But he's consistent.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I feel contradictory with my feedback on him because originally I was like, I don't want them to always give him a Spanish verse.
Of course.
Right? Or I was like, we need to see him shine in other ways. This is stereotypical. But what's interesting is he's one of those people that I don't know that he's found his unique voice as not voice in
Outside of
tonality,
the Spanish, yeah.
but like who he is in personality and how he shows up. Because he
Yeah.
sounds good. I mean, I noticed it
He's
live.
mini Bruno
We
Mars.
watched
Yeah,
it back.
yes. Mini Bruno.
I mean, you guys, you cannot get a better compliment than a mini Bruno Mars.
I mean, he
I know.
really
I mean, I'm
is.
sorry.
No, but
like,
no. But compared to Devin, we're saying Devin outshines him. If he was a
Right.
mini Bruno Mars, he would be the one shining. I think he just needs to come into his own a little bit more. And I don't mean like in years to come. I mean
Yeah.
there's still time in this competition.
I agree.
But he sounds so. Drew Ramos last week we were saying he sounds good, but he's getting lost. He didn't get lost this week.
agreed.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying I'm not speaking for you guys. See, okay, so someone in the live
coasting.
chat said Sergio is coasting. People are agreeing coasting. Sergio went under the radar this week. So we
Yeah.
love him. We think he sounds good. We just need him to like
Pop.
shine
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta
did he-
shine.
Because he was in my top 5 initially. Like when I first watched the
Me
show.
too.
Me
he was
too.
in my top 5.
Fantastic. I still think he's got this. His smile just like melts you.
Yeah.
But I think that Drew just blew us all out of the water tonight. That Sergio just sort of was there.
Yeah.
You know, neither good nor bad, but like Stefan said, at this point in the competition, and the farther we get along, you've got to stand out in a good way and not fade. Speaking of standing out, let's talk about J Hype.
Let's talk about J Hype.
Crickets.
Well,
No,
Anybody?
I'm sorry.
No,
I was distracted because somebody in the live chat said, "Is Sergio going to make the band just to get the Latin audience?" And I will say, I don't think so because,
there's several
as
other
Despacito
contestants.
demonstrated, there's
Agreed.
plenty of contestants with
Yeah.
Latino roots and influence who can bring that to the band. So
Yeah.
no, I think that I don't.
No.
I get it's Hollywood. I get why you're asking, but no, I don't think so.
No.
On that. Sorry. Back
Okay,
to J Hype.
I just want to say for the record, I predicted last week the 2 people would be in the bottom 2, and then the person that would go home. Now, having said that, J Hype, I actually really enjoyed his performance. I thought he was really confident. I thought like this time around, I mean, I understand. I guess if they had to pick somebody in the bottom 2, I understand why he was chosen. But I really liked him in this performance.
I felt he was a little timid. I mean, last week I was blown away, and vocally by far, I think he actually probably was a little better this week.
Yes,
Last
that's what I
week
mean.
he
Yes.
struggled vocally, but performance-wise, he just shined to me. Like he was really
Last
there.
week.
Last week.
Okay.
This week I felt like because it was a softer, more simple song, and he was very exposed vocally.
Right.
Yes.
That
Well,
you
my-
could read that in his body language.
My conclusion was he was very in his head.
Yeah.
But I will say, to me, work ethic means a lot.
Absolutely.
Because, and something we can get into as we talk about eliminations in a minute is how these guys show up 7 days a week matters, because as they form a band, you want a band that you're going to want to tour with and work with and whatnot. So everybody said this week, J Hype worked really hard.
Yeah.
Nick acknowledged it. The judges acknowledged it. Everybody said that. So I suspect he was probably in his head because he knew that he had to shine. And honestly, I will tell you, his mics were not very loud in the house mix.
Yeah.
So it worried me because I could barely hear him. And I was like, I don't know how he's doing. Listening back on TV tonight, he sounded good. He
Yeah,
was on
he did sound
pitch,
good.
much improved. So I think he just needs to be able to trust himself with
Yeah.
that. This
I mean,
is
you
so
guys,
new for him.
He's 14.
So
like
young.
the amount
So
of
young.
maturity and confidence and I mean, to be able to have that much stage presence at that age with that
Yeah.
amount of pressure.
And also just the way that he was talking about it, he said he's excited. He wants to step up. I mean, yeah, he's not like, oh, well, I need a couple more weeks. He's like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to start trying to push for it. And you can't ask for
And
more than that.
Tim last week spoke really highly of him in terms of he just tries so hard and he's so willing to go for it and try. And that's the kind of kid that is going to make it, whether the timing is right now,
Whether
or
it's
he
this or
needs
something else.
2 more years to really work on those vocals so that he can kill it. But, tonight, do you think he should have been in the bottom 2?
Yes, because I will say tonight the critiques were very clear. Last week, it seemed like there could have been 9 different people that they put in the bottom. We didn't know.
Yeah.
This week, Carissa and I looked at each other and were like, based on their critiques, it's this person, or this person we know.
Yeah.
And it was true with the people that they chose. It was those exact 2 for those groups. So I think it made sense based on their critiques. So people in the comments are very unanimously saying we think that his vocals were too weak. Here's what I'll say about this. I do think that he improved a lot.
Agreed.
This is the first time he's ever had any really solo singing parts. So for those of you who think that he's too weak, and by the way, that's some people in the live chat now, but based on the fans we heard throughout the week, there's a lot of you who disagree. So I'm not saying that's the case. But if you think he's too weak, recognize he's not going to sail by for the next 5 weeks.
and also
If he doesn't continue to improve,
he was like
you'll
a
know.
huge fan favorite, like in the downtime in between when we were coming back from commercial and stuff. Like the girls were chanting his name and stuff. I think he's getting more and more.
And he wants to
also-
earn it. He's not coasting.
No.
To use the word that people were using earlier, he's not coasting. He really is trying hard.
He's trying really hard. And he has a lot of, Nick made the comment, I'm not sure you have the tools to make it. He has a lot of tools in his toolbox. I don't know if you've all seen the video that they did of Rita Ora's song. He can move.
Yeah.
You can tell by that little clip that he can move.
And we didn't see as much of that this week just because he was in his head and
he
nervous.
was in his head. It was a very simple song. You didn't really give him a chance to shine. But so we had Dorian and J-Hype in the bottom.
For
Dorian.
What did you guys think about Cam?
Because of last week.
Just because of last week, I just and his voice cracked last week.
I think he did well this week. I don't think he sort of stood out one way or the other. But for time purposes, let us know. And
I thought he did. His voice. I actually put Cam's voice grabs my attention more than Sergio. Sergio is fun to watch, but if you close your eyes, to me, Cam's voice will grab your attention every time he sings.
I just thought that Cam's voice was perfect for this song. Like, it sounded Frankie Valli. It reminded me of like a young Michael Jackson, where it was just like, this is the perfect.
That is high praise.
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know if I can go that far, but I will say this. I agree with you, and I think this performance and tonight was really important for his confidence going forward.
Agreed.
And I think that he did rise to the challenge. However, I don't know if he has that.
I need to see more of him.
I agree.
I don't know that he has, like you said, that thing that makes you want to watch him, that makes you just fall in love with.
I didn't think he did in that performance, but in the opener, just watching him. I just thought he had so much
Cam.
Cam. Even because he, I kept looking at him even when he wasn't having solos.
I don't know. He seems to me like a kid who's having fun at like his school performance. And I think there's he's incredibly talented, but I think there's a distinct difference between the level of professionalism that I've seen in some of the other contestants, like Marcus Pendleton when he performs, or Devin, or, Jaden's performance when he's singing, or Brady's very polished performance. Very different kinds of performers, but there's some level of there's just a difference between a talented kid and somebody who could be a recording artist.
We'll see.
We'll
Guess
see.
so.
Anyways, so let's talk about Dorian, because Dorian was in the bottom for Next Up, and we see Dorian go home, and I was a little confused about this because the reasoning behind it and the comments for it, I actually thought Dorian did a great job, had a blast in his performance, had confidence, had sort of taken all the notes vocally and performance-wise that the judges had given them, and so when he was in the bottom, it was a little bit of a shock. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I disagree. I feel like, yes, this performance, he was much more dynamic. He was having fun. It was fun to watch him. But I think if you compare the four, he was definitely, I think
The weakest link. Yeah.
He's the weakest.
Well, and what it highlights, I think, is, and I was talking about this with people at the show today, is whether people like it or not, we see way less of the rehearsals now.
Yeah.
So from a voting perspective, you largely just have to go on the performance. But what happened with Dorian today was a reminder, there's 7 days of the week we don't see. And clearly they've seen moments of immaturity, in their opinion, that our performance didn't allow us to see. So, which is actually what made me, contrasting J-Hype being on the bottom, I thought, what a stark contrast, because that 14-year-old is so grounded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I was like, if we're going to bring up maturity as a reason for someone to go home, on that point, J-Hype looks like he could be in this thing for the long haul. He seems solid and supported and grounded. And so I think in maturity, you couldn't have more opposites there.
I also feel like just because, like, Next Up only had 4 people, since he was the one sort of coasting, and since everyone else had stepped up, like, if there was 5 people,
yeah, you're right.
you might not have noticed that he was
There.
Or he
disappearing
would
in the background.
he would have gotten more credit for being the most improved.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about next week. We have a double elimination.
Which I hate. These already make me
agree.
so anxious. And we have 2 going home. Does that mean we have a bottom 4?
I don't know.
How are we going to vote? Is it 3 or is it 4? Either way, I'm already stressed
That's
about
already
it.
stressed.
I already need a
Yeah,
drink.
so Stefan, give us our spoilers for next week. What do we have coming at us?
Okay, so I do need to acknowledge that Napoleon and Tabitha, the creative producers, were supposed to join us, as some of you knew. They were unable to because there were last-minute changes and meetings happening tonight. So this is what we were given by ABC. It could change. What we were given is next week is going to be soundtrack hits.
Okay.
So movie soundtracks is the theme. These are fascinating selections.
What do we have?
How Far I'll Go from Moana.
Oh.
What?
See You Again. That one I get because of Charlie Puth. See You Again from Furious 7. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Armageddon. It will be an interesting week.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's all we have for you guys tonight.
Can we touch on the J-Hype Michael Connor thing quickly?
We do not have time for that.
We do not have
can touch
time.
on it in social media. We can touch
Please
on it
do.
next week.
Continue.
So,
Yes.
let us know where we can find you on social media. Let us
Yes.
know.
Twitter and Instagram. Dr. Lovegrove. I love hearing from you guys. So keep it coming.
On Twitter and Instagram, at Suzanne Quast.
And on Twitter and Instagram, at Carissa Blades. Hope to talk to you guys.
And you guys can find me on social media at Rockin' Mama Life. Make sure you go to AfterBuzz, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. We had so much to talk about this episode. Go to YouTube, let us know your comments. We'll chat all week. Find us on Twitter. That's all we have for you guys.
Yay.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.